There are many ways to get an accurate drawing, but for me the best I've found so far is a proportional divider, and this one I'm using is called Accuracy. And you see, you just open it up, measure the points that you want to transfer on your reference photograph, and then when you've got those accurately, you just move it over and make your point, make your mark. So that's the height mark. Now I also need a width mark, so I'll do exactly the same again. Measure the width, and where those two come together, where they intersect, that's going to be that point, and that's going to be exact. Now you can go over the old drawing and make thousands of marks like this, or you can go over and just make 3 or 4. Totally up to you. Also depends on how well you can draw. So the more accurately you can normally draw, the less points you need. And if you're a real beginner, you may want lots of little points. You may feel more at home, more confident if you can have lots of points on there. And what I'm going to do with this drawing, I'm going to do quite a few points so you can see exactly how I make those measurements. Now the great thing about this way of drawing accurately is that it really does teach your eye and your brain to see and measure distances against one another. So rather than just tracing something, if you actually use proportional dividers, it's really going to make your brain think in a drawing manner. So it's great. It's actually teaching you and simplifying the process as well. Now there's lots of proportional dividers out there, but by far so far the accuracy one is the best that I've found. Now I've speeded up the clip because otherwise it's going to take me 30 minutes to see all these little points that I've made. But if you watch, you can see I'm making points and measurements on the critical parts, on the bits that really stand out, the bits I really need to get right. So I'm measuring, making a mark, measuring, making a mark, and then joining the marks up. The trunk is really quite tricky, the angles, the position, so I'm doing quite a few marks on there. So I measure the height, then the width. Now the important thing is you need straight lines, so you need a horizontal and a vertical line. Now these could be anywhere on the drawing. They could be in the middle section, or they could be from the outside edge as I'm using. And here I'm doing the same for the inner part of the trunk. So this way of drawing is really making it accurate. And it's quick too. Now you could also draw just with line of eye, or you could trace. But if you really want to learn to draw as well, these proportional dividers are fantastic. You see, I've done the outline first, and now I'm going to start doing the inner portions. Doing the same type of measurements all the way along. Now if you're very good at drawing, you may want to just put a couple of marks here and there, perhaps the top of the head, the bottom of the trunk, the width of the head, and you can fill in the rest. So you can also make this more challenging if you want to, just by putting a few marks in, or even drawing it and then checking yourself with the proportional dividers. But by doing it this way, I know everything is going to be right first time straight away. I'm just using a standard graphite pencil 2H, just on some normal paper, and I don't want these first marks to be very dark. So I've slowed it all back down now. I wish I could draw at that speed, it'd make things a lot quicker, but I've slowed it back down so you can see how I put in smaller elements such as this eye. So you can see I'm using the top edge now as my point to come from, and now I've got that mark in the center. I can take the whole measurement around the eye and the eyelids, the eye recess, just gives me an idea of where these parts, where these highlights and creases would exist and do exist. And then I can do a little bit of freehand because I'm confident now of the height of the actual eyeball itself. Okay, so now the drawing is done. I've switched over to a darker pencil. I think it's probably a 2B pencil, and I'm going to darken all these lines in. So now I'm confident that everything's just how I want it. I'm going to make these lines much darker so I can transfer them over to my canvas really easily. Now I photographed this elephant at a local zoo, and behind it was a lot of very thick bars and cages, cage wires. And what I did in Photoshop, I then took the elephant from that, got a background and put it on there just to give a more natural setting. But I think to keep things simple for this small study, I'm going to make the background just blue. Now I didn't need to do such a detailed drawing as this because I'm not really going to use that much of the drawing, but I wanted to show you how with proportional dividers you can make a very, very accurate drawing to any degree of detail that you want. Hope you've enjoyed that video, and if so, I got lots more on my YouTube channel, and don't forget the only way not to miss out on any new videos is to click the subscribe button. On my website I've got full-length feature videos, I've got reference photo CDs and ebooks, and also the new Easy Trace line art tool. So hope to see you either on my YouTube or my website jasonmorgan.co.uk. See you all again real soon.